Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello learners, welcome to your math lesson. Today we are going to start the lesson of ratio and proportion. And in this particular lesson we are going to start with the introduction to ratios. By the end of this class you will be able to know what is ratio. You will also learn about equivalent ratios. Then you will learn about ratio in its lowest form, and also you will be understanding how you can divide a certain quantity according to the given ratio. So let us start with the introduction to ratio. In our daily life, many a times we compare two quantities of same type. A ratio compares values. A ratio says that how much is one thing there is compared to the another thing. For example, if say I have got 20 chocolates and you have got 40 chocolates. So how can we say this in general term? We can say you have got twice as many chocolates that I have got. Right? So we are just basically comparing the two things, that is the number of chocolates between you and me, and we are just comparing them. And here what we are going to learn is about ratio, which is also about comparing two quantities, but it compares the values. Okay. Now let us look at the example. It says Isha's weight is 25 kg and her father's weight is 75 kgs. How many times father's weight is of Isha's weight? So you can think about how much bigger is 75 compared to 25. Do you know your 25 times table? 25 times 1 is 25. 25 times 2 is 50 and 25 times 3 is 75. So what do we understand? We understand that father's weight is 3 times Isha's weight. So let us write it here. So let us write it here. How many times father's weight is of Isha's weight? It is 3 times. Okay. Now let's read this one. Cost of a pen is rupees 10 and the cost of a pencil is rupees 2. How many times the cost of a pen is that of a pencil? So you know that your 2 times table, where do you have 10 in it? 2 times what number gives you 10? It is 5, right? So how many times is pen costlier compared to pencil? You can clearly see that because pen is 10 and the cost of pencil is just 2, and 2 times 5 gives you 10. So that means it is 5 times costlier. So how many times the cost of pen is that of pencil? It is 5 times. Okay. Now the next one. In the above example, we compared the two quantities in terms of how many times. So do you see that in these two examples we have just seen, we are comparing the two things depending upon how many times it is bigger, right? This kind of comparison is known as ratio. Okay, let's read a more formal definition to it. If we compare two quantities using division, then it is called ratio. It compares quantities in terms of how many times. I hope this is clear. Now, the symbol that we use in order to represent this ratio is these two dots that you see in between 4 and 3. These two dots represent the symbol for ratio. I hope this is clear. Now, how do you read this? You read this as 4 is to 3. Okay? 4 is to 3. This is how you read the given ratio. And how do you write it? It is written as, like you see the fractions. It's the same way how you write the ratio. It is 4 over 3. Okay? So 4 is to 3 is basically 4 over 3. This is how we show the ratios. Okay? And this is how we use the symbol of ratios with the two dots. Moving ahead to an example to understand this. It says, let us see how we are going to use these ratios now in these examples. Okay, if there are 35 boys and 25 girls in a class, okay, then what is the ratio of number of boys to the total number of students? Now every time you will see a question in ratios, it is always given to you as number of something to the number of some other thing. Okay, every time you're comparing the two things. So let us start with this one. What is the number of boys? Number of boys is equal to 35. And what is the number of girls? Number of girls is equal to 25. Now I hope we can calculate what is the total number of students. So let us write it here. Total number of students is equal to, we need to add 25 and 35. Right, so it is 0 at the ones place and 6 at the tens place. So it is 60. Okay, now we are required to find the ratio for number of boys to total students. So let us find the ratio to it. So the ratio of number of boys to total students. Right? So what is the total number of boys we have here? It is 35, right? So 35, and with the ratio we write 60 because this is the total number of students. So this is how we write the ratio of number of boys to the total students. Let us write this here in front of it. So here it is 35 ratio 60. And how do we read this? 35 is to 60. Now in the next one it says number of girls to the total students. I hope you are very confident to write this. What is total number of girls? It is 25, right? And what is the total number of students? It is again 60. So these I hope are clear to you how we have written the ratio for the number of a given group of students compared to the total students, right? So these are the ratios. Moving ahead to the next one. Here it says in a class there are 20 boys and 40 girls. What is the ratio of the number of boys to the number of girls? Simple. Here we are given number of boys is equal to 20. Then what are we given? Number of girls. What is it? It is 40. Now we need to find the ratio of number of boys to what thing? To the number of girls. Clear? So let us find the ratio. Ratio of boys is to girls. Right? This is the ratio that we are required to find. So what is the number of boys? It is 20 is to, what is the number of girls? It is 40. Clear? Now let us see the next question. It says Ravi walks 6 kilometers in an hour while Roshan walks 4 kilometers in an hour. What is the ratio of the distance covered by Ravi to the distance covered by Roshan? Simple. So it is the ratio of distance covered by Ravi to what thing? To the distance covered by Roshan. Okay, we are comparing two values, so it is ratio. So distance covered by Ravi, distance covered by Ravi is equal to 6 kilometers and distance covered by Roshan is equal to 4 kilometers. Now the ratio of distance covered by Ravi to the distance covered by Roshan is equal to, what is the distance covered by Ravi? It is 6, right? So let us write it 6 is to 4. Don't you think it's really simple to solve these questions of ratios. And also I want you to be careful that because we are writing something in ratio, it doesn't mean that you need to write these kilometers and kilometers. Okay, but one thing that is very important is that both the units should be same, as we have already discussed this in the fractions, right? That when you have the same units, you always make sure that you keep the two units same, and then you don't have to write the units in fractions. Okay, the same way you don't write the units in the ratios, but like whatever unit is given to you, it should be same. Okay, now here it is given length of a house lizard is 20 centimeters. Okay, and the length of a crocodile is 4 meters. So what do you think? How can we write the ratio of the length of the lizard to the length of the crocodile? Let me write it here. Ratio of length of lizard to the length of a crocodile is equal to 20:40. Do you think I have done this correctly? I hope you can point out the mistake. What mistake did I do here? I just said that when you are working with ratio, you don't have to write the units, but you need to make sure that the units are written correctly. Okay, so now can you see that here if lizard is 20 centimeters and crocodile is 4 meters, I need to convert the units into single unit. Either I convert both of them into centimeters, or I need to convert both of them into meters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert 4 meters to 400 centimeters. Okay, so here we know that length of lizard, it is given as 20 centimeters, right? Then the length of crocodile, it is given 4 meters. So I can write 4 meters as 400 centimeters. Why? Because in 1 meter we have got 100 centimeters. Now I can write the ratio. What is the ratio? Ratio of the length of lizard to that of the length of crocodile is equal to 20:400. I hope this is clear. Now this is the correct answer, that if you are going to compare the ratios of the length of a lizard, it is very small, right? But if you see a crocodile, it's so big. So you can see it clearly with the help of this ratio, that if 20 is what is representing the length of a lizard, then 400 is that for a crocodile. Okay. Now, what we have just learned is that the unit must be same when you are comparing the two quantities. Okay. This is what you have just learned, that every time you're solving a question of ratio, the units must be same. Okay. If we have to compare two quantities with different units, then we must convert them into a same unit. Then only we can compare them using the method of ratios. Okay. Now, it says in the example, what is the ratio of the height of Raman and Radha if the height of Raman is 775 centimeters and that of Radha is 1.35 meters? Clearly, this is given in meters and this is given in centimeters. So we need to convert one of them into the other so that we can have the same unit. So let us write height of Raman is equal to 175 centimeters. Now what is the height for Radha given? Height of Radha, it is given in meters and it is 1.35 meters. If we are converting into centimeters, we know that 1 meter has got how many centimeters? 100. So how can we write 1.35 meters into centimeters? It will be 135 centimeters. Okay. Now let's write the ratio of their heights, because now they both have got the same unit. So it's simple. So the ratio is the ratio comes out to be 175 is to 135. Now we don't write units when we are writing the ratios. So this is the answer to this particular question, that is the height of Raman to that of Radha. Moving to the next question. It says length of a pencil is 18 centimeter and its diameter. So here we are comparing the length of the pencil and its diameter, which is in 8 millimeters, right? What is the ratio of the diameter of the pencil to that of the length? Now, one thing that I want you to be very careful with is, it is asking you to find the ratio of the diameter of the pencil to its length. So be careful what number you're going to put first. Okay. Now the first thing that is of a concern is that here the two units are of different, right? So these two units that are given, they are of different values. So it's 18, which is in centimeters, and 8, which is in millimeters. So we need to convert these two units into a single unit. We know that in 1 centimeter we have got 10 millimeters. So either we convert 18 centimeter into millimeter, or we convert 8 millimeter into centimeter. If we convert millimeter into centimeter, we'll get the answer in decimals. So what let's do? Let's convert the centimeter into millimeter. So if 1 centimeter is 10 millimeter, so 18 centimeter will be 180 millimeters. Okay. Now let us write it here. What is given to us? We are given length of a pencil. And what is the length of the pencil given? The length of the pencil is given as 180 millimeters. I have written this in millimeters, okay? So the diameter of pencil is equal to 8 millimeters, right? Now we need to write the ratio. What ratio do they want us to write? They want us to write the ratio of diameter, right? Diameter to that of length. This needs to be very careful with that what is given. They are not asking you to write the ratio of length to diameter. They want you to write the ratio of diameter to the length. Okay. So what is the diameter given? It is 8. And what is the length? It is 180. I hope this is clear how we have worked out this answer. Taking care of what needs to come first and what will come after in the given ratio. So 8 is to 180 is the answer. Moving to the next question, it says Saurabh takes 15 minutes to reach school from his house and Sachin takes 1 hour to reach school from his house. We need to find the ratio of the time taken by Saurabh to the time taken of Sachin. So we need to require to find the ratio of Saurabh to Sachin. Okay. Now, because here we are given this particular time taken by Saurabh in minutes and the time taken by Sachin is 1 hour. So what do we need to do? We need to convert the given units into a single unit. So what will we do? Let us convert 1 hour into minutes. So let's write it here. Time taken by Saurabh is equal to 15 minutes. Right? Now the time taken by Sachin is equal to 1 hour, and 1 hour has got how many minutes? 60 minutes, correct? Now we need to find the ratio, and what ratio is it required here? It is the ratio of time taken by Saurabh. So time taken by Saurabh to the time taken by Sachin, right? So let us write it. What is the time taken by Saurabh? It is 15 minutes. So for 15 is to 60 is the answer. Okay. Now let's do the next one. It says cost of a toffee is 50 paise. Here it is given 50 paise. Denomination we have got for the money is paise. The cost of a chocolate is 10 rupees. Now the denomination is in rupees. Find the ratio of the cost of toffee So to the toffee, we need to find that of the cost of a chocolate. Okay. Now let us write it here. What is the cost of toffee? Let us write cost of toffee. It is equal to 50 paise. Now the cost of chocolate that we have, because here the chocolate is given in rupees, so we must change it to paise. So 10 rupees, when we change it into paise, because 1 rupee has got 100 paise, so 10 rupee will have 10 multiplied by 100 paise, right? So it is 1000 paise. Okay. Now what is the ratio? The ratio is from toffee to the chocolate we need to find. So what is the cost of toffee? It is 50, and it is to the cost of chocolate, which is 1000 paise. I hope this is clear how we are writing the ratio, and we need to be very careful with the conversion of units. Okay. Moving ahead, here it is given that in a school there are 73 holidays in 1 year. Okay, 73 holidays means that there are 73 total days, right? And 1 year has got how many days? Let us assume that 1 year, this is like a normal year, so 365 days. Okay, we are not assuming, we are assuming that this is not a leap year. Okay, what is the ratio of the number of holidays to the number of days in 1 year? Okay, clearly as we have written here that 73 holidays means that 73 days you have got for holidays. Out of how many days? Out of 1 year, which has got how many days? 365 days. And we are considering a non-leap year. Okay. Now let us write here number of holidays. It is equal to 73. Number of days in 1 year. What is the number of days in 1 year? It is 365. Is that right? Now let us write what is the ratio. The ratio we need to write is the number of holidays to the number of days in 1 year. So it is 73 divided by 365, and this is the answer, that is the ratio of number of holidays to the total number of days in a year. Moving ahead, now it says same ratio in different situations. Okay, now what are we going to see? We are going to see how the same ratio can reflect to different situations. Let us consider the given example. It says length of a room is 30 meters and the breadth of the room is 20 meters. So it is a rectangular room which have got 30 meters as its length and 20 meters as its breadth. Okay, now let us write what is the ratio of length to that to the breadth. Okay, right. Both the values that are given to us, they are in meters. So we don't have to consider the problem of units here. We'll just directly write the ratio. So the length that is given is 30. Okay, and the breadth that is given is 20. Now, very important thing I want you to notice here is, as we learned at the very beginning that how we can write the ratios, we learned that 4:3 can be written as 4/3. Is that right? Now, similarly, 30:20, I can write this as 30/20. Am I right? Now look at this fraction, 30/20. Do you think you can convert this particular given fraction into any lower fraction? Do you think you can simplify this given fraction? If yes, then you are absolutely correct that we can simplify this into a simple fraction. How? If we divide the numerator and the denominator, both of them, by 10, because both the numbers, they have got 10 as their factor. So the ratio that will come out will be 3:2. Okay. So what ratio we can write this? 30:20 can also be written as 3:2. I hope this part is clear. We are writing the same ratio by simplifying it. Okay, the value still remains the same. The ratio, the comparison between length and breadth is still the same, but we are simplifying the numbers. I hope this is clear. Now look at the second one. It says there are 24 girls and 16 boys in a that are going for a picnic. So let us find what is the ratio of that of girls to the boys. Okay, so the girls are 24 and the boys are 16. You can write your given ratio as a fraction form. It will be 24 over 16. Now, do you think you can simplify this? Do you think there is any way in which you can divide the two numbers, that is numerator and denominator, in order to get a simplified fraction? If the answer is yes, you are absolutely correct. What is the biggest factor, that is the highest common factor between the two numbers? It is 8, right? So let us divide both of these numbers, the numerator and the denominator, by 8. So if we have the 8 times table, we know 8 times 3 is 24 and 8 times 2 is 16. Now, what do we notice here is we can write 3:2 as in the ratio form that we were learning so far, right? What do you notice in the two numbers here? Did you see that both the answers, when we are working them in the ratios, they have given the same answer, right? And we are totally considering two different situations. In the first one, we are considering the length and the breadth of a particular room. Now, the second situation is about the number of girls to the boys which are going for picnic. So what is it? It is showing us that even you can represent different situations with the same given ratio. Okay, so what we learned? We learned that the same ratio in different situations can be made.